Hey everybody, it's Chris Bumbury. I'm here again at Cinemacon for the last day, just out of the Paramount Pictures presentation, and what an interesting one it was. So the Naked Gun teaser trailer recently dropped, and I think that everybody really liked it, but it's funny, it's totally different than what we actually saw here at Cinemacon. We saw a much more extended trailer that had a lot more footage. So the Girl Scout scene that you guys saw in the teaser, I don't think that's actually in the movie. I think that's a fake out teaser, kind of like they used to do with the Naked Gun movies. You know, Naked Gun 33 and the third, there was that scene where that woman is running through the woods and she goes to the house and then he accidentally hits her and she falls off the mountain. I think it's done in that tradition. I don't actually think there's a scene where the Girl Scout goes in and pulls off her face and it's Liam Neeson like Mission Impossible. I think that was just the joke, but I think the OJ joke is definitely in the movie. And if you like that OJ Simpson joke, which I thought was great, you'll love the rest of the trailer, which is very much in that tradition. I laughed myself silly throughout the footage that we saw. I mean, Neeson totally plays it like he's in Taken, but just with all this silly shit going on around him. There's a really good scene in the trailer where Pamela Anderson, who plays his love interest, comes over to his apartment. She starts like doing plumbing for him, like literally cleaning his pipes, like not, literally cleaning his pipes as he plays with his dog. But a sniper played by Kevin Durant is outside his window watching him via night vision. And it looks like that Neeson's in the middle of some human centipede style shit, and it's very funny. It really had the audience laughing, and I think it looks like a really funny movie. And then that OJ joke is just, I mean, you had to address it, right? And what a perfect way to address it, considering the history of the franchise. Otherwise, saw footage from The Running Man. This is Edgar Wright's take, very different from the movie that we remember with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and much more in mold of the Stephen King, or actually I should say Richard Bachman book. Whereas Glenn Powell's character lives in this kind of dystopian future, and he has to basically race around the world with a bounty on his head. And not only are hunters trying to kill him, but regular people are trying to kill him. There's a great scene in the trailer where he's in a plane and the pilots start to try and take him out, and then they just go crazy and they all start flipping around on the plane as they lose gravity at one point. And it looks like a wild action movie and a serious kind of Tom Cruise style vehicle for Glenn Powell, who seems to be doing pretty much all of his own stunts. Very much in the Tom Cruise mold, that movie, actually. Different looking for an Edgar Wright movie. It looks like much more of a conventional action movie than you might expect from him. But then again, he did Baby Driver, and that had some terrific action in it. The other thing that we saw, of course, was some footage from Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. They actually didn't show us that much, which is funny because usually they pull out all the stops for Tom Cruise movies here at Cinemacon. I saw Top Gun Maverick, the entire movie here, and saw about 15 minutes of the last Mission Impossible. They just showed a trailer, but what was really cool was that Tom Cruise showed up to give out Director of the Year award to Christopher McQuarrie, or as he calls McHugh, and he told a really funny story. He said that whenever he's out with McQuarrie and he showed a photo of him, he says people always think that he's the grown-up version of Jonathan Lipnicki in Jerry Maguire. And if you look at the two photos side by side, you can actually see why people might make that mistake. Otherwise, another thing that was really cool was that Cruise led us all in a moment of silence for Val Kilmer, which I thought was, a classy thing to do. And Val Kilmer was a huge figure for Paramount, actually, if you think about it, because he was in Top Gun Maverick, Top Secret, a big figure in their catalog. So it was nice to see them pay tribute to him. And who else would be better to do that than Tom Cruise? Anyway, another one that looked really cool was Roofman by Derek Cianfrance. It stars Channing Tatum. It's based on a true story about this kind of gentlemanly thief who escapes from jail, and he goes to hide out at a Toys R Us by digging his way into the roof of the building, and he kind of observes them during the day. Peter Dinklage plays the manager of the Toys R Us, and he's a total asshole. And one of his employees is played by Kirsten Dunst, who's a real sweetheart, and Tatum falls in love with her, watching her, and starts to kind of work his way into her life. And it seems like a romance mixed with a bit of a caper. And like I said, it's all based on a true story. And it looks like Tatum delivers one hell of a performance. But I've been very impressed by him in recent years. He just seems like he's a guy that gets better and better. Dunst is perfect as always. This looks like it'll be a real gem. And then, of course, there was the Disney panel later in the day. So first up on the Disney panel, we saw some footage from the Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Me from Nowhere. So I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. I'm really looking forward to this movie. Jeremy Allen White, we got a few glimpses of his performance, which is interesting because he's not going the route that Timothée Chalamet did for Bob Dylan or Austin Butler went for Elvis, and where he's not doing a Bruce Springsteen impersonation. He's really playing it kind of as himself and going for the emotional truth of the character, which is a very different track than a lot of other actors have been taking and may prove to be controversial. That said, I found it kind of refreshing. It looks like Alan White does a bit of his own singing, but then it climaxes with him singing Born to Run, which is definitely Bruce Springsteen. And he looks great on stage doing the whole thing. I mean, I'm a Bruce Springsteen fan, so I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. Other footage that we saw was from a movie called Ella McKay, which is a James L. Brooks film, his first movie in 13 years. I mean, look, James L. Brooks, I like him, but he is kind of a relic of a different era from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And his vibe is really a lot like that. So in this one, Emma Mackey from Sex Education plays a politician, is struggling with her personal life and seems very much like the broadcast news of politics, but with like the kind of, quirky, snappy snap James L. Brooks dialogue. And look, it looks like no terms of endearment. That's all I'll say. I hope it's good. I don't know. It could be a wonderful film or it could just be terrible. There's a podcast that's on now, Karina Longworth, you must remember this, and they're doing a whole series on The Old Man Still Alive, which tracks, filmmakers that were really A-list in the last couple movies that they made, and for the most part, they turn out to be pretty bad. I'm hoping that this doesn't fit into that category. Not terribly sold on what I've seen so far. Same thing with Thunderbolts in some ways. I mean, I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to this. We saw some extended footage. My problem is it looks like the action is great and the cast is great, but the vibe is so comedic that like every time there's action, every time there's suspense, it's punctuated by a little like snappity snap, kind of cleverer than cleverer kind of dialogue, which I don't love. It kind of robs the film of any drama or any suspense. Maybe it's just the trailers though. I mean, I think they're trying to sell a vibe, but the quirkiness really is not working for me. I hope that the entire film isn't like that, because if it is, it's going to be a real pain in the ass to sit through. I hope it's great. I love the cast. But I'm much more enthusiastic about the footage that I saw from Fantastic Four First Steps, which gave us our first reveal, and you guys haven't seen it yet, of Julia Garner as the female Silver Surfer. Well, she looks like Julia Garner, dipped in silver paint or that game we used to play, Quicksilver, when we were kids that, drive all those kids insane because it had mercury in it. Anyway, looks like a super fun movie. It's all set in this retro futuristic world. Where the Fantastic Four are celebrities, and then Galactus's minion, Silver Surfer, comes along to say that, the world is going to be destroyed and the world is panicking, and who's going to save them but the Fantastic Four, who has to convince the world that they're up to the task. Oh yeah, and the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, is pregnant. And if you're a comic book fan, you know what that means. It looks like a great flick. It really does. It looks like a wonderful world. Kind of World of Tomorrow vibes I'm getting a little bit with the retro futuristic thing. So looking forward to seeing this. We also saw some first look footage of TRON ARES that hasn't been released yet. And wow, this one looks very cool. So in it, ARES, who's basically this TRON world character, comes into the real world with like light cycles and all the gadgets and gizmos that you're used to from the TRON films, and tries to do something. I don't know his mission. As Leto said, he's hell-bent on kind of fulfilling his mission, but we don't know exactly what it is yet. It is hinted that he's probably a villain because he has the red coloring, which the villains typically have, although the color scheme of the movie really seems to be emphasizing the whole red aspect. So I don't know, maybe he's not a villain after all. Greta Lee from Past Lives seems to be the human protagonist. This looks very cool. The style, the visuals are amazing, and the music by Nine Inch Nails is kick-ass. So excited to see this one. Besides that, I did see some footage from Predator Badlands, but I'm going to leave it to my good friend Lance Velchek, who is going to go onto it all on his own in a video that's going up on JoBlo Horror. It's up there right now, and it's going to be on this channel in a couple hours, so make sure to give it a watch. But otherwise, that is a wrap on Cinemacon 2025 for JoBlo.com. Saw some interesting things. A highlight is definitely the 4 Beatles movies being announced and the Beatles cast being revealed. It was also very cool seeing Tom Cruise give a moment of silence for Val Kilmer. And of course, meeting and interviewing Andy Darmus. Wasn't bad. Oh, and I also loved the Naked Gun trailer. You guys saw a tease of it today with the teaser trailer, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the coverage, and let us know in the comments what you think is the coolest sounding movie of the bunch.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.